Hey guys, so we're live again. So this time I'm here with Zan Perrion. Now, if you don't know this guy, he has a fascinating story, and I'd love to go through all of it, but we don't have that much time. So we'll give some highlights. And Zan and I met, was it 2008? We decided Berlin, and our paths have been crossing a lot since then. He does some amazing work. He's founded the Ars Amorata. For those of you, I know the ones that follow me definitely know what the Ars Amorata is, or you should. And so we're here teaching a workshop in Las Vegas with a bunch of other colleagues of ours, and it's the last day, and we're just kind of hanging out and listening to our friend Johnny speak. So I talked him into jumping on here with me for a minute and then talk to you guys a little bit. So you want to give them just like a quick intro of what you do, and then we
sure.
get into it for those that might not know.
Yeah, I've been like talking about dating and relationships and love and beauty, men and women for many years since for a long time. And I've known him for a long time. And we met in Europe, as you said, and we've seen each other in cities all over the world since then. And and I've just been, talking and writing. I wrote a book called The Alabaster Girl, which is a book about women and beauty. And and I've just I live in Europe. I'm Canadian. I grew up in the forest, and now I'm living in the cities of the world. So that's me.
And so I do want to talk about your gypsy past, but before we get to that, so I tend to ask people on here what freedom means to them, and I'm not necessarily talking about not being in jail, but the more abstract term of freedom. So what is that to you?
Well, like the thing I wrote in my book is that we're motivated. Every one of us is motivated by one of the three F's: either freedom, fortune, or fame. And when you know which F is your predominant one, you know what you want to concentrate on. For instance, I'm not motivated by fortune, so I'm not going to be a guy who's going to do 70 hours a week building a corporation. I'm not motivated by that. I'm motivated primarily by freedom, which means I can accept any invitation that's given to me. If you say, listen, I'm going to go to Norway, would you like to come and give a presentation, or would you like hang out? I can say, with no question, without having to check in with anybody, you know what? I think I will do that. Right? I can accept that invitation because I have the full freedom. I've arranged my life and arranged my world so that I don't have to answer to anybody.
As you do all the time, apparently, because I mean, you've been to Norway to give talks, and you've been to Vegas many times, and you're flying out from Romania, and basically every time I saw you, especially back in the day, it was somewhere new.
Always new, yeah. And it's all an invitation. Somebody says, I'm inviting you to come here. I never say, well, does that align with my plans? I say, is it available for me to go that time? Do I have the freedom to, or the space in my calendar? Then I go. My mantra is I accept all invitations if possible.
There you go.
So that to me is what represents freedom, to be able to, the freedom to sit and like, as you know, I'm not very productive, and I'm not enterprising. It took me 10 years to write my first book. I'm writing my second book, and I sit there and I look at the sky a lot, and I look at the horizon a lot, and I think about it, and I hem and I haw and I ponder and I relax, and I wander the streets with my girlfriend, and I have a coffee, and I think about things. A lot of introspection. I'm not productive. That's why I'm not a blogger. I don't put out YouTube videos like on a regular basis, because I just don't have that in my body to be this productive, creative force. I like to think a lot, and I like to wonder and dream about physics and stuff. Right. We were talking the other day. And so so freedom means I have the ability to sit and relax and think about that. And remarkably, when you don't have a lot of stuff, which I don't, I gave up my corporate job years ago, and I reduced everything I owned, motorcycles, cars, apartment, down to a carry-on bag only, one carry-on bag. And I hit the road and was traveling around, and for years.
Yeah, because from the time I met you until a few years ago, as far as I knew, all you owned, you basically had on you 90% of the time, because it was not on that roller
one
bag
pair of
that
shoes
you had, and like a small little bag on top of that if you went shopping or something. And that was
the remarkable thing is, like, if we think, well, I might need a pair of shoes for this, and I might need a pair of shoes for this, but when you only have one pair of shoes, it frees the mind remarkably, because you don't have the choice. So those are my shoes. I put them on.
Right.
So you don't have that overhead, the mental energy of thinking, which should I choose here? You don't have the choice, and the freeing of it is incredible.
Right.
So freedom.
So a bit of a minimalist, definitely, and a gypsy. And So I have two questions, and one of them is what I mean, you already said that to you, freedom is being able to do what you want and go where you want to go.
Yeah.
And wasn't it? I know this wasn't, but wasn't it? Being constantly on the move, not having a place to stay. For a lot of people, that seems stressful. That seems like
Yeah, that's true. I know. Like, there's a lot of people that have a real fundamental need for instance, a piece of land, to say that they fulfilled their destiny or whatever, right? For me, I'm always seeking what's over the next hill. I'm always so curious. I'm always a treasure hunter trying to understand what's over there. And like, so if you invite me to come to Las Vegas or to wherever, I'm like, what's over there? I gotta go see, Right. So for me, maybe because I grew up in the forest, and we living in not much substantial of anything.
Right.
You just kind of realize that, I don't know. I just
it's in your blood, I guess.
It's in my blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
we got Peter Minsky logging in saying hi. He's where you got Minsk?
Hello, Peter.
Wow. So my other question is, because to a lot of people, I know this sounds like the dream, because I talk to a lot of people and they're envious of me and my travels, and I've done quite a bit, but not anywhere near you have. And then people look at you who has the life that you have, and you've been in this industry, people know who you are, and they go, well, it's easy for you to say, Zan, you can go take off and you get invitations because you can go speak and people want what you have.
That's true.
How do I get there?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's really, the process is not necessarily getting to the point where you're getting a bunch of invitations. It's more the process is unburdening your mind. To me, I think it's fantastic, like to be able to simplify, and the old phrase we used to use is simplify and add lightness. Right. It's lightness in your step, and to simplify your life. Like we'll do things in the West anyway. We will sign up for karate lessons on Thursday evenings because that evening is free.
Right.
And then when the time comes along, or we sign up for the gym or something, and when the time comes along, you said in your talk earlier today, it's like, well, I really don't want to go. But if you convince yourself, you enjoy it. But it's the mental overhead of convincing yourself, I signed up for this, I paid money for it, so I'm obligated to do it. Those obligations that we fill our time with, so we don't have time to sit and wonder. And as Johnny said today, just sit quietly and exist, which is remarkable, to be still. I think that's, if you head towards that, and the simplicity of that type of thing. And I don't mean that people have to quit their job and backpack around the world to have a sense of purpose or anything like that. But if you don't like your job, or it burdens you, or you detest it, yes, you should quit it, and you should quit into nothing, because something will arrive.
Right.
Because
my take on it is very close to that, and it's people busy themselves with all the things, and both material things, but also all the things they're supposed to do, and they sign up for the class that they don't really want to do because they're supposed to do it, and they do the thing, and they build this life where they have so many things pulling on them from all different directions.
Yes.
They need to pay that loan on their car that is much more fancy than they need. They need to pay that mortgage on the house or apartment that's bigger than they need. And all of these things kind of, for many people, not for everyone, some people do very well with this, but for many people kind of imprisons them.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
Because it's your stuff that makes you have to work so hard.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like one byproduct of reducing yourself down to a carry-on bag is you realize how little you actually need,
right,
to make it in this world, and then eat well and then hang out with your friend. You know what I mean?
Up until I moved here to Vegas a couple of years ago, I moved on an average every 9 months. I would move into a new apartment, and it was because I would live somewhere, and then I'd quit my lease, and I'd go out traveling for a while. And I wouldn't have an apartment back home in Norway. I'd come back and move into a new place. And I moved all the time. And people were like, isn't that exhausting? And I go, well, no, because I can fit all my stuff into one car. I didn't have a carry-on bag. I had a carload of stuff, fit all my stuff in one car, drive somewhere. I have a friend who has storage for me. So I just put it there, come back, go grab it, put it into someone's car that I borrowed for the day, move it over to a new place and move in. And I'm done. It's a one-day mission to move.
Yeah.
It's easy. While other people have so much that the idea of traveling for a year and then, releasing their apartment, moving out, it's terrifying, because what am I going to do with all my things?
Yeah, and they'll put things in storage. Imagine this: you have a sofa set, like a nice chair and a sofa, and you like it, you bought it, you paid for it, you put it in storage, you pay monthly storage fee for that, at some point, several months down the road, it's cheaper to buy a new one.
Right.
Right? But you keep paying for 3 or 4 years because that's my stuff.
Exactly.
And you could have bought a beautiful, wonderful one for what you paid for storage for 3 years.
Right. That's true.
The washer and dryer is stuck in storage. You could buy a new one for cheaper.
So what about the people who want the stability? They want, they feel safe because they have their world sorted and they know what they want.
Yeah.
But they also want a little more adventure. They want to, live more free, not be restricted by other people's expectations of them and stuff like that. They still want the life with a
well, then, like I said, simplify your obligations. Like that class you signed up for, the pottery class you think you should take, for instance, unless your heart is really desiring it and you're delighted to go, and take this. Simplify these things so that you have a lot more space and time around your thinking capacity, etc. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with stability. I traveled for years in the carry-on, as you know, and I have a home now. I have a small apartment. I even have a cat. Like, I'm that domestic that my girlfriend found a stray on the street and brought it in. Look what I found. All right, okay. So I have a cat, which is the most stable I've been in a long time, and yet I still have the 100% license and freedom and knowledge that if you say, hey, listen, we're going to do something in Thailand in March, in 2 months from now, I can say, legitimately, I can say, I'm going to come to that.
Right.
Because I've still, like, my apartment is I don't have a lot of things still. Like, I could be out of my apartment. I could even leave my guitar behind, for all that.
Right.
Get another one, right? And I could be out of my apartment in probably an hour.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Because you've spent, most of your life, since you left the forest, exploring and figuring out how you can make things work for you the way that you want them to work for you. I mean, you've told your story about exploring women and getting to know that part. But this is also, to me, one of the things that I see that you do. You've designed a life where you can create what you need when you need it. But it didn't just happen overnight, because you worked corporate work back in the day. You had that thing, and then you decided to let it go. Now, that transition from having that safety and security, which for you probably was more of a confinement, but that transition into going from that to being a gypsy, was that on the moment, I'm leaving everything now and moving on, or did you?
Well, it happened suddenly, but I thought about it for years. I thought, this is not me. I'm in the corporate world. I had a nice car. I had a nice apartment, and I was trying to get a bigger TV like anybody else. I was putting on credit cards and stuff like that, and trying to show to the world that I have arrived in the world of adults, like, look what I have, and look at this nice lighting system. My stereo is state of the art, and maybe someone will like me because of that, And I chased it and chased it because I thought that's what you have to do. When I was a kid, like, I was playing in the dirt, and I was sneaking through the birch trees and that playing in that. And so going down that corporate world and buying all these things and trying to move up wasn't my spirit. And when I released that and went back to the birch trees virtually, even though I'm in cities, I'm still sneaking through the forest now. I feel like it, right? Like, it's completely aligned with my nature. The 3 F's: fame, freedom, fortune. Freedom is primary. If it was fortune primary, which is nothing wrong with that. It might be somebody listening to this says, well, I love the idea of fortune, and it has my heart and soul, if they've examined it, and it's not just, I just want to get a Lamborghini, right? Then there's nothing wrong with that. Then pursue that. You're willing to sacrifice, and there's guys that fame is primary. They don't care about the money. They don't care about the freedom. They want to have the fame. They want people to recognize them and acknowledge them and validate them. So I've basically gone back to the forest. I feel it, and it's so releasing and so self-affirming and so heartwarming to me that it gives me a stillness and a calmness. So when I'm talking to somebody, for instance, a girl, there's a calmness in me that I've made concrete steps towards simplifying and stilling my mind and my heart, so I can say, hey, what's your name? And it lands,
because you've chosen, you figured out what your alignment was right for you, of these 3 F's: fame, fortune, and freedom. And then you've gone full in on it. You haven't done what a lot of people do, which is kind of hedge their bets. This is what I want, but I'm gonna work. I'm gonna spend a lot of time and effort on what's safe, or what other people do, or what's expected of me. And so, what's your advice for the people that are caught in the expectations of others? Because obviously, you leaving this corporate job and doing the work that you've done and living the life, I'm sure there have been people, crinkling their nose and saying you should be doing.
Oh yeah. Like, it's, there's expectations from friends and family primarily, for a lot of cultures, especially, right? Like, you get a real job, and marry a nice girl, and you know, the whole thing, and they want to please or to have the heart of their parents glad, for instance. But at the same time, the best thing you can do for your parents or for your friends or for anybody is to be truly authentic to what you want. That's the best gift you can give to them. It doesn't look like it to them, and it doesn't look like it to you, and society will say, well, that's not true, but it is. The best thing you can do is the best expression of yourself is to be fully authentic in what you desire and head toward it. You know, and others will catch up to that. They have to. I mean, they will, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it's one of the things that I enjoy about these get-togethers. It seems like every time several of our colleagues get together, this becomes one of the main topics of, you know, doing the thing that is right for you.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. I know you have a plane to catch. I'm not going to keep you here for too much longer, but thank you very much for coming on. Guys, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll forward them to Zan, and we'll get back to you on that. And thank you guys for tuning in. And for those of you watching the recording, you can also leave questions behind. Thank you so much.
Stay connected to this guy. He knows his stuff.
We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night. And